Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to our final day of preparation and getting ready. Today is about commitment. So I'm asking you to make a commitment and sign a commitment letter. And I prepared a commitment letter, which is on the website. You can print it and read through it and sign it. It's also very powerful when you write your own. So you write your own commitment in your own words, what you're committing to for these 40 days, and then you sign it and you date it. So I'm going to talk about this today. And I wanted to just say that this is for you. Jesus was alone for 40 days. And often what happens is people begin a process like this and they want to help all their friends, or they want to go do good in the world. They immediately realize, like, oh my God, I want to share this message with other people. And I want to ask you to not do that. You don't need to promote this program anymore during this time. You know, if on today, the final day, you want to tell someone about it because we're still in preparation, go ahead. But once you enter into your 40 days, I want you to not be focusing on other people. I want this to be your time. This is for transformation. It's for undoing. You have enough going on, believe me. And I ask you to draw a circle. I've mentioned this a couple of times already, but you're going to draw a circle and you're not going to step out of it. And you're allowing everything to come up and be exactly as it is. You're just going to be paying attention and noticing. And this is what Jesus did. He really said, okay, I'm going into a quiet space to allow everything to come up so that it can be released. And that's what this work is. And so you're going to draw a circle and you're going to stay in your own backyard. Don't think about helping other people for 40 days. Don't try to go do big things. This is your transformation. This is your time. And so I want to talk about the commitment letter, and then I want to talk about the 3 temptations that Jesus faced in his own wilderness experience. But first I want to go through this, and I kept it very simple. So for 40 days, I commit to watching myself like a hawk and paying close attention. So A Course in Miracles is about mind training. You're watching your thoughts, and you're recognizing that all thoughts have power, and you're shifting out of one thought system of fear into the thought system of love. So for right now, you're just paying attention. And many people have never realized what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're doing. That's what it means to be asleep. People are just on automatic pilot. They think situations are occurring and they're reacting and responding. People think it's normal to be angry and sad and sick, and it's not. And so what we're doing here is we're making a commitment. And so I notice the thoughts that I'm having. I notice the feelings and emotions that I'm experiencing. I notice the stories I tell about myself and others. And one of the things that I suggest is no storytelling. Watch yourself like a hawk. Watch yourself when you want to tell someone, I'm tired, I'm sick, I have a sore throat, I have cancer. That's a story. These are stories that we tell. And so as much as possible to not drag the past into the present. These are all past stories. I notice the words I say. I notice the words that come out of my mouth. I notice when I want to fix, change, or control a person or situation, and you're just watching. That's all we're doing right now. You're just watching. When you want to be right, when you want to give someone your opinion. I notice when I'm criticizing, condemning, judging myself or others, holding a grievance and gossiping. I notice the conversations going on in my head. So there's 2 voices in your head, and you're going to start to notice the 2 different voices. One is the voice of what A Course in Miracles calls the ego, and the other is the voice for God. And that voice is still, it's quiet, and the ego voice always speaks first, and it speaks the loudest. And you're going to start to notice them. And I'm going to notice when I'm focusing on the past and thinking about the future. So that's the first one. You're just going to start to notice and pay attention. The second one is I acknowledge a presence and a power in my life. So you can call it any name you want. It can be God, divine intelligence, Jesus, Christ, higher power, love, spirit, whatever you want to call it, the name doesn't matter. What does matter is that you begin to acknowledge something else with you. This is your highest self, and you're going to commit to developing a relationship with it. I commit to 30 minutes per day of focused quiet time with no distraction for listening, journaling, prayer, and meditation. And I commit to rearranging my schedule to make time each day, 30 minutes to an hour, to do this 40-day work, watching the video, reading the daily message, practicing and applying each day's lesson. I understand that transformation can sometimes be disorienting, confusing, and chaotic. I commit to continue with this 40-day program no matter what emotions come up, no matter what situations occur. I'm all in. And then you sign it, and then you date it, and then you put it somewhere where you see it every day. And I want to talk about those 3 temptations of Jesus in the desert. And I love the Bible stories. I did not come into any sort of idea of Jesus or God until I was 33. I had no religious upbringing whatsoever. I just began to have this feeling that I wanted to know what God was. And that's how I began. And I need to see everything directly with my own eyes. I don't care what other people say about it. Everything has to be a direct experience. And that's why I love A Course in Miracles so much. Because you get to practice with these ideas and see it for yourself. You get to know this presence and this power. And then suddenly I was curious about Jesus. I had no idea who he was. And I started reading books about him and reading the Bible. And I always look at the metaphysics of those Bible stories and how they relate to us, how they relate to me. And Jesus in the desert was tempted 3 times by what the Bible calls the devil. And the devil is nothing more than your own ego thoughts. And your ego thoughts are nothing more than your fear-based thoughts. So he drew a circle and he said, bring it on. That's what you're going to be doing. Bring it on. Show me my fears. And the first temptation was he was fasting. And you're fasting. So you're fasting from negativity, complaining. You're fasting from everything that you thought was normal. And the first temptation, the devil shows up and says, see those rocks over there? Turn them into bread. And that's the temptation that you're going to be confronted with. When you have let go and you're fasting from all of your limiting beliefs, there's going to be a situation that's going to say, here's this. You're going to feel hungry. Turn these stones into bread. And it's an invitation to break your fast and eat and go back to your old thought system. And Jesus said, no, you cannot tempt me. So this is the commitment. That when your mind says, okay, let's go back to and eat the bread. Let's go back to the way we were. You said, no, I've made this commitment. I've made this commitment and I'm sticking with it. And the second temptation was the devil came and brought Jesus to the highest point of the temple in Jerusalem and said, jump. Jump. And if you are who you say you are, the Christ, the Holy Son of God, angels will catch you. And that's for self-accomplishment. That's what that is. That's that temptation of the mind to say, let's do some healing. Like, let's just try and see what we can do without God. And he said, no. He said, no. If it doesn't come from God, I'm not doing it. And this is very important because what often happens is people enter into this kind of program because they want to heal something. And I ask you to not try to heal anything during this program. That healing will occur naturally. It just will. And any temptation to try to heal a sickness, to try to heal a bodily condition, that's ego. That's the devil. And we're not doing that for 40 days. We're just allowing ourselves to go through a transformation where we know ourselves as whole, as healed, as perfect. And so that was the second temptation. The third temptation, and I love it because first he uses Jesus's weaknesses. You know, that second temptation it's the one most spiritual people get caught up on. Like, I can do things by myself. That's the human condition. We do everything alone. And so you go through those fears, you go through all the lower human emotions, and then the final temptation, he takes them up to the mountaintop, shows them the city, and says, this is all yours. All yours if you follow me. And so that final one is for power. It's for self-glorification. And oftentimes what happens in this work is you will get what you think is a miracle. Like, you'll get more money, you'll get your physical healing, you'll be offered some amazing job, you'll get a new relationship, the love of your life, the thing you've always wanted. That's a temptation too. Because every temptation to stay in a worldly condition, it will hold you back. And so you're going to be watching yourself like a hawk for 40 days for everything that comes up. You're looking at the good and the so-called bad, and you're saying, no, I'm here learning how to listen to my guide. This is my commitment to go through the whole transformation completely. And what A Course in Miracles says is that you cannot be totally committed sometimes. You have to be totally committed always. And, you know, people think I'm just going to put a little tiny foot in the water, a little toe, and not much happens. But if you're all in, you say, I'm all in. And I don't know what I'm doing. You don't need to know what you're doing. You just say, I'm in and I'm ready, and feel the excitement of it. And that really is all that you need to know. So I invite you to take time today to look at this commitment letter, sign it, date it, make that commitment. Like, don't just sign the piece of paper. Just really know what you're saying yes to. This is something that you're entering fully into. And just, if there's anything else that's like needing to clean up before we go into this wilderness experience, because tomorrow's day one, I ask you to do it today. And I honor you and I love you. Thank you for being here.